Officially live here in the first ever UCSS 2-minute warning show. Instant reaction to the Cleveland Browns Philadelphia Eagles game. Not a lot to talk about per se. The game wasn't the prettiest, but I do have the prettiest two co-hosts in the world on the show today. I got my man G. Bush, the barber. How you doing, G?
I had to bring Paxton out. Man, what an ugly game. It was ugly as heck. The weather, the gameplay was kind of ugly, but we got some decent stuff to talk about though.
And Adam the Bull, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. I was saying to you guys right before we went on, I screwed up. I realized that the way I set up my studio in my basement, my TV's behind me, which for this, for the preseason, who cares? Because I don't care about the final 2 minutes of this game. But we're going to be coming to people are going to be able to join us live for the final 2 minutes of every. We're not doing next weekend the final preseason game, but then every regular season game, we'll start chatting with you live at the 2-minute warning. So I'm going to have to I think I'm going to have to do the last 2 minutes from my couch.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we do this because I'm with you, but my TV's right there and I can't see what's happening for the last 2 minutes. So we're going to have to just go off the people here who are tuning in with us as we get this thing rolling. So let's start first.
There's my TV there, right? Like right behind me.
That's nice.
Yeah, you're in the same situation. G, how you watching the last 2 minutes?
Listen, last 2 minutes, y'all got to get up to the digital age. My stuff going to be streamed. I'm streaming and I'm gonna have it on the side. Like
what happened
right
to my
here
picture?
In the little box. You up out of here?
You turned your camera off, Bull.
Oh, did I?
You showed.
Yeah,
you showed your
go.
TV off. There you go.
Yeah, hey, listen, this is a preseason game for us as well.
Yeah, that's right.
This is gonna happen after every Browns game during the regular season. We're taking next week off, but we're gonna do this with instant reaction, starting at the 2-minute warning and going for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long we have to break down the couple biggest reactions to the game. And let's start with, I think, the number one thing from today's game, guys. Bull, I'll let you start, then G, and I'll close. But Josh Dobbs played pretty well for the second straight week. I know it's against backups, and I know it's preseason. We don't want to overreact, but we are for at least 11 weeks, one injury away from Josh Dobbs being the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. What have you seen through 2 games so far, Bull, to make you feel either a little better about that, or are you still extremely nervous that Dobbs could be the guy who's taking significant snaps if need be?
There's no way you can be confident I'm not even that confident in Jacoby Brissett, let alone Josh Dobbs, who's never played in the league, or Josh Rosen, who stinks. So he has played well. I don't want to take that away from him, but when you look at the situation, somebody's trying to FaceTime my phone. That's why I think I keep losing my screen here. I'll bring it back up in a second. But Josh Dobbs played fine. He played fine last week. He did a good job. I don't know if it's the best idea for him to be trying to dive into the end zone and taking big hits when he's their backup quarterback. I think what it did show me, he's shown enough that I'm going to get rid of Josh Rosen. I've got such good depth at running back. I've got such good depth in the secondary guys that I don't think this team should carry a third quarterback. If you need one at some point, okay, well, the Browns are in big trouble anyway, but you can always find a Josh Rosen type on the waiver wire, or you can add some young guy to the practice squad. I can't waste the precious 53-man roster spot on a third quarterback that's not any better than any of the guys out on the street.
G. Bush?
Yeah, man, I'm going to handle this like fantasy football. I'm going to carry 2 quarterbacks, and if one get hurt, I'm going to get one off the waiver wire and see what I can do and try to make the best of it. I think today showed that Josh Dobbs got a little something. If he can't throw the football as effectively as you want, there's always an element of him running with his legs. I thought he did a good job of being a dual threat quarterback today. I like the fact that he's putting it out there. He sometimes as a quarterback, especially if you're a backup, you have to put your body on the line a little bit. I thought he did a really good job, and I'm dead on with Josh Rosen. It is what it is, what he's doing. But between Josh Dobbs and a couple of receivers making some catches and bringing the ball in, I thought those were the main 2 highlights for as far as the good goes for the Browns.
Yeah, Dobbs today, 10 for 14, 141 yards, 47 rushing yards, and a touchdown for the preseason now in total. He's 24 for 33, 249 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He threw for 1 last week, ran for 1 this week. Bull, I agree with you where you say, I'm not sure if I want Dobbs diving into the end zone, especially in a preseason game. At this point, he's too valuable to this team to risk himself and to put him in a situation to get hurt like that. But I do like the tenacity and the aggressiveness he shows from that quarterback position. And the one thing that stuck out to me with Dobbs, and I'm not sure if you guys picked up on this, is Stefanski talks about how he wants to change his offense a little bit, get more mobile, a little more RPO action, which is what Watson does so well. Brissett's not the most mobile guy, but it seems like what we saw play calling wise, I know it was super manila. I know it was basic grade 1 level, but I think we saw the kind of the baseline playbook of what Stefanski may try to do with Watson. And I like some of those read options, get the guy moving. I know you don't want your quarterback taking too many hits, but it adds an element to this offense that we didn't particularly see with Baker or guys in the past. And if they can add that quarterback run on top of Chubb, Hunt, and everyone else, defense is going to have a hard time picking their poison on what they want to stop against Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. But what's funny is he's trying to do that, but then we're not going to see that much with Jacoby Brissett because he's not that type of player. Dobbs does have that skill set. Watson does have that skill set. And so it's going to be interesting to see what they do when eventually, let's say Brissett does play the 11 games and then eventually Watson comes back. Will the offense dramatically change because the rest of the team has been preparing a certain way, right, the whole season, and now Watson comes back and he's a completely different quarterback than Brissett? And will they immediately implement a lot of those changes, or will it be something they kind of slowly do? I don't know. I mean, Bill Belichick changes the game plan every week, so I guess it's not that complicated. But
G. Butch, I got a question for you based off something you said. You said you think the Browns should go 2 quarterbacks, just like fantasy football, by not keeping that third. Do you keep another running back on this roster? Because once again, it was only 2 carries from Dearness Johnson, but he looked impressive. Jerome Ford continues to look good. John Kelly has shown flashes. We haven't seen Felton yet, but he's a guy that they can mix around. Are you keeping like possibly 5 running backs on this roster? What are you doing with that situation?
Yeah, I've always said this from the jump. You're gonna keep sometimes when you're building your team. I get that you want what the league rule book says. Hey, or the 5th you got to have 6 receivers and you never carry more than 3 running backs. Well, that's BS. if you got 5 running backs and they're the best people on your team, you keep all your running backs. You don't just cut them loose just because you got to get somebody else on the roster. So I think and they're diverse enough and they have a high enough skill set that they can catch the football, they can block, they can run the football. So, I think you do keep 4 to 5 running backs. I wanted to ask you guys, because we talked about the quarterbacks a little bit. I would have, maybe it's me, I would have played Jacoby Brissett.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't.
That was my next question.
I'm confused by that, man, because, I'm watching, and I don't know if I was just tripping, but I saw Patrick Mahomes playing the other day. And I said, okay, Pat Mahomes is playing. And either that, I would have even thought about playing Deshaun Watson because you're asking him to come back in the last 6 games of the season and go 4-2, 5-1, or undefeated. I think these guys need work, especially when you are already penciled in as a backup that is getting starting minutes. You're not a starter, really. You need all of the reps you could get to get ramped up. I don't understand it a little bit myself. I was anxious to ask you guys.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the week. I was very surprised at Brissett. I don't understand. Like, I get that you don't want to get him hurt, I guess, but I hate when teams worry about that too much. Again, if it's a guy coming off an injury, I get it. If it's a guy who's a proven star in the league, I get that too. But Jacoby Brissett's neither of those things. He is a veteran. I get that he has come in off the bench quite a bit, but it's a new system, new team. I'd want him to play. Absolutely. I'm surprised. And by the way, Josh Rosen trying to rally the Browns for a game-winning field goal try by Cade York, or maybe even a touchdown. I don't know.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. I do want to touch on the Brissett thing, though. We had Tim Couch on last week, and I asked him, hey, do you remember any preseason game in particular? And he said, no. I played in them all, but they went in and out, besides his first preseason game when he played against Troy Aikman. We talked to DeQuell on Friday. DeQuell said, these dudes not only need reps, they need game reps, and you can't replicate those even in joint practices. Yeah. And for the life of me, and I'm not a football guy, defer to everyone who's smarter than me with this. I've never played in the NFL. G. Bush, you played in college. I played college basketball. I don't understand.
No, you played college basketball?
I did. Shocker. I know. But I don't understand it. But it's applicable here with this. You need those scrimmages to get ready for the game, to run your plays against a defense that doesn't know what's coming, that can't cheat the play, to get those reps in that actually matter when the whistle and the games really start. And that's September 11th against the Panthers. And I know, boy, something happened in the game.
The Browns lost. They gave it. I think they gave it up on downs, and the Eagles taking a knee to win it.
The Eagles are in victory formation right now. So that's the final, 21-20. The Browns lose preseason week 2 to the Eagles. We're all devastated.
What happened to Cade York already? Missed what would have been the game-winning field goal.
That's on the list. We're going to talk about Cade York in a sec. It would have been good from 70. But I continue to not understand Stefanski's decision not to play these guys. Injuries happen, but injuries could happen in week 1 in his first game rep, and it's impossible to predict. And unfortunately, it is tough to dictate that. So let's talk about Cade York. Jay's not here.
Wait, before you do that, I do think Jacoby, I think part of the reason they didn't play him this week is because they felt like that both Watson and Brissett got what they think of as kind of sort of game reps in the joint practices with Philadelphia. I know it's not a game, but I think that's how they're looking at it because they were at least playing as first stringer.
G. Bush, you played. Is a joint practice the same as the real game?
No, and I hate the fact that people trying to keep saying that now.
I'm not saying it. I'm telling you what that's what I think they're saying.
Not you, but a lot of people. That's the first thing we ask every beat reporter. Well, you got those joint practices. Listen, I watched those reps in joint practice. You're not getting hit. The quarterback ain't getting hit. There is no clock in your head when you got to get rid of the football. There's no tackling to the ground. So what's the game about? Blocking, tackling, and catching, right? You have to do that under extreme pressure and know that you're going to get hit. That's why those games are not like regular preseason games. And I'm with McNuggets. It's not as if these guys were top flight starters, right? You got backup players playing at wide receiver, backup levels playing at quarterback, backup level players playing at defensive tackle. You need to get those backup level players enough reps to even have them ready to go. If Baker Mayfield is down in Charlotte playing, well, Jacoby Brissett, you got to play. I'm sorry. If they starters is playing, we got to play our starters, bro. Now, I ain't saying the whole game, but a little something. Get him, because if he come out slow, you know what people gonna say. Stefanski, he sat him the whole preseason. That's what he was gonna do. These guys weren't ready to play. If they come out and it don't matter and they look like they're great and they're balling and they're doing their thing, awesome. But just know that that's in the back of people's minds as they are sitting here watching TV the first game of the year.
Hey, Mike, before you get to York, I want to talk about David Bell because he did. There was a play right before the end of the when they kicked their first field goal that I thought he should have made that play, but overall I thought he played really well. Like the key, I mean, obviously he's not a burner, right? So he's supposedly got the best hands. He overall showed good hands, and because we've really, you've had no real NFL production from anybody besides Amari Cooper in this wide receiving core. You're looking for someone to step up and grab that wide receiver job. And I thought he had a good showing. Again, he's playing against backups. He's playing with backups. I don't want to get carried away. I don't like to read too much into the preseason, good or bad. But I do think he showed some good things. And he kind of stood out to me a little bit. What do you guys think?
Gee, let me ask you this question. And this goes right along with that, Bull. I think there are certain positions that in a preseason game, you could just see a guy's movement and his style. You say, okay, that actually might translate to a real game on Sunday. I think running back and receiver are two. When you see guys break in and out of cuts, their hands, you could look at a guy even against lesser competition and say, hey, I do think this translates. Gee, did you see that from David Bell today? And were any other rookies, guys who you've kind of watched so far in limited action and said, what he does, I know he's playing against backups, but the movement, the way he's going about this, I think it actually helped the Browns in a real game.
Yeah. When you're talking about being a defensive back, when you're talking about being a receiver and a running back, all that stuff translates. It don't matter if you're playing against one of the best corners in the world. Like you still have to decipher what coverage they're in. You still have to understand whether they're man or zone and what areas of the field you need to be in. So you can always work on your play recognition. You can always work on, hey, this is a cover 2. What do I need to be on this play? Hey, this is man-to-man coverage, cover 3. What do I need to be? And converting your routes, right? Understanding where you need to be always translate, no matter of the skill level in the back seven. Running back is the same way. Running back is all about a feel. We talk to Leroy all the time, and he said, guys, I just need to get a feel for where my cutback is, where my vision is going, and where's my landmarks. Because every player has a landmark where you're supposed to be looking at, where you're supposed to be going to. And those are things that you can look on and work at without you playing with the first team. To me, I would also throw quarterback in there, because this is the thing that I always talk about. You look at the situation, you look at quarterback, and quarterback, you have to have the same timing as a receiver. Jacoby Brissett must identify what you're talking about. You must identify whether it's zone, man, and the quarterback has to do the same thing. And they have to be on the same page for you to throw with confidence and throw sometimes when you're not even open, because you know the guy will be there. You can get that in 7-on-7, but there's nothing like game reps. There's nothing about game speed. And I just think that there needs to be a little more from the quarterback position. We'll see what is yet to be seen. So they'll figure it out. But I'm a guy that likes to play my guys.
Both?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But what is I don't know what the question is anymore. I lost count.
Just like what was it like we talked about last week with Jerome Ford. We only saw him for 10 carries, but he said, hey, the way he moved.
Yeah. Like what positions can you read more in the preseason?
Yeah.
I guess running back is it. I don't like to get carried away on any position, because guys aren't playing the preseason games the same way as you would a regular season game. You talked about it before. You're using vanilla schemes. You're not being overly creative. Guys are just not going to. Yeah, and you never know what the motivation of an individual player is. But definitely Ford has stood out. I mean, there's no doubt. And a running back, just the way he moves, the way he it's just like all the other guys in this running back group. Like, he seems to fall forward every time. Like, that's a common trend for the Browns running backs, is they rarely go backwards. It's like even when they get hit and go down, he gets you an extra yard or two. He's been very impressive. But like G said before, like, I'm not getting rid of any of these guys. I'm not all this talk about trading Kareem Hunt because Ford is good. Like, give me a break. I'm not trading Kareem Hunt. No. I'll use Kareem Hunt as my slot receiver before I trade him. So yeah. I have no interest in trading Kareem Hunt. This idea that we're going to trade him for some random wide receiver on the Eagles, that's stupid. Doesn't make any sense. Well, who's such a good receiver that I'm going to trade Kareem Hunt for him? I'm not getting a good receiver, so I'm not trading Kareem Hunt, period. That's it. I don't know why it's being talked about. I don't care how many good running backs you have. Let's see two. I don't see three of them. I don't care at the same time. Felton can play wide receiver. I'm not cutting any of those guys. I'm not taking three quarterbacks. I'll get rid of Johnny Stanton if I have to, but there's no way I'm trading Kareem Hunt just because I'm deep at running back. That's my strength. I'm not going to mess with that.
By the way, if you trade Kareem Hunt, there's no way you make it the playoffs. I want to get that up to you right now. See, there's a lot of people out there that think that, once again, this is the Madden trade machine. It's not Madden trade machine, bro.
Right.
The Browns' offense is predicated on Kareem Hunt. If they were going to be so amped to cut him, get him up off of here, you got to realize they wouldn't have been acting the way they did when they said, "Oh, we're not trading you at all." And as a matter of fact, you might want to come back to practice. That's because he's an integral part of what they want to do. That's only way the Browns are going to go to the playoffs if Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have career years. They have to play at the top of their position group.
That's right.
And be versatile. So they're not giving him up for a receiver stop.
The Browns' defense and running backs have to be elite for the Browns to be in the mix when Watson comes back. It's 100%. They've got to be phenomenal. The Browns got to be just killing it on the ground. That doesn't mean you don't run it all. I mean, throw it all, but they've got to dominate. They've got to be unstoppable. And Kareem Hunt is as great as Nick Chubb is, so is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is like nobody loves Nick Chubb more than I do. But I think there's this sense like there's this huge gap. Like Nick Chubb's great and Kareem Hunt's good. No. Kareem Hunt's great. Kareem Hunt is great too. They're both great. We just don't. Kareem Hunt's just not put as big a stats as Chubb because Chubb's a pinch better as an overall player, even though Kareem Hunt's a better pass catcher. But as just a pure runner, Nick Chubb's a little better. He's more reliable. And so he gets more touches, which we all love, But Kareem Hunt's a stud. He's a top 10 back, maybe a top 5 back in the league. He just doesn't put up the numbers because he's on this team. So I am not just giving away, I'm not just trading one of the best running backs in football for some random mid-round draft pick or some number 3 wide receiver that might be better than our 3rd wide receiver. That's stupid. I don't know. I don't think the Browns, anyway, the Browns are doing that. Again, I'll be happy. Let him catch 40 passes from the slot.
Yeah.
Do it.
I asked the question on the show this
slide.
week. I asked the question on the show, what's the least amount of passes the Browns will throw in a game with Jacoby Brissett this year and still win? I'm telling you, I think the number is like 15. They may honestly run the ball 17 times with Chubb, 12 times with Hunt, 7 times with Dearness Johnson, 5 times with Ford, and a quarterback sneak or 2. And you're looking at
but the only thing I'll say to
43
that
carries
is when the competition gets better, that's going to be harder to do.
Agreed,
Right.
but I'm just saying, you look at the makeup of this team, I think even though it's weird to say, hey, we have 5 running backs on the roster, they are versatile enough in different ways to get them the ball in different opportunities, just like we saw with Anthony Schwartz today.
Right,
Your boy got a reverse. He actually made 2 catches. He got a reverse. Were you impressed with the bounce-back performance by number 10?
Yes. I'm going to clap it up for Schwartz. I like the fact that you caught the balls that were thrown to you. I like to clap it up for Bell. I thought you caught the ball well. And so Kevin Stefanski is now seeing it. I said, look, shout out to you, Kevin. You're now understanding who the players are. Some players need to get into a rotation or a rhythm. Schwartz is not a traditional receiver where you're asking him to be a tactician off the line and really beat people with his footwork and hand placement, all that. No. That's not him. What he does best is he gets the ball in reverses. He gets the ball on quick bubble screens, tunnel screens, whatever case may be. He gets out and he's able to run a little bit. Even though he only got 4 or 5 yards on his little reverse, got him into the game. He touched the football, got hit. Mm-hmm. He's in the flow now. Yeah. Now he's confident and ready to catch the football because now he feels like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm started up. But if you just want him to come out here and look around, and come out here from the first quarter and catch the football on running digs and post corners and all kind of China routes and all kind of other upper echelon type routes, that's not his game. So I like the fact that Stefanski is showing he can be able to be adaptable to who he has. So I thought that was encouraging as well. There was a couple unencouraging things. I didn't like the way the Eagles was running the football today. Did not like
the defense stunk.
The Browns tackled so poorly today, and I'm curious. Aditi said on the pregame show last week they hadn't tackled at all during camp, and I know that's NFL rules now, but it seems like these dudes, they don't want to hit. And as someone who loves a big hit in football, they were getting gashed left and right. I'll pull up the stats real quick. As a team, what do you guys think the Eagles rushed for as a team today?
Man, they had almost 170 yards.
They only had 144, but it felt like a lot more than
How
that.
many carries?
Felt like it.
They had 43 carries for 144 yards for a 3.3 average.
That's actually – it's funny because it's actually not bad.
The numbers don't indicate it being bad, but it seemed like that could have been way less had the Browns been able to wrap up guys on the first hit.
Did anybody really stand out? Did anybody stand out for you guys on defense? Because nobody really stood out to me.
I thought Emerson made a play, but as you said, he got hurt.
Yeah.
He got hurt.
I thought Emerson played all right. I thought AJ Green played decent. But the defense, he got hurt. Defensive tackles, boy, I tell you, I didn't see it. Perry went through, was rotating in there. The defensive tackle just does not have a punch. Like, and I'm with you. I'm with you, McNuggets. When I saw them playing, it sounded like JV football on a Thursday night with a bunch of mom and aunts and this. I was like St. Ed's versus Menor JV game on a Tuesday. I'm like, there ain't no pass smacking, ain't nobody flying around with no intensity. I'm a defensive guy. Guys are sliding off tackles and tripping guys up. That you better bring your body when you come. You got to come to the party ready to go. I didn't see none of that. I was just like, I'm hopefully Myles Garrett and Clowney and them other boys, I know what they're going to be doing. But here's what I know about top defenses. Top 5 defenses are not only dominant with their first unit. When you play their second unit, and they second unit is playing against second unit offense, you're still not getting no yards because everybody, it follows you. We in our gaps, we flying around, we bring intensity in that level, we're ready to play, and you're not about to get that off. That's not going to happen. And I was disappointed in the way the Eagles look like they came ready to play to run the football. They couldn't stop it.
One thing to add real quick, and we're going to talk about this on the show this week, ESPN did a ranking of each position group in the NFL, 1 through 32, where each team ranked. The Browns were number 1 on edge rushers and number 32 in interior defensive line.
Yeah, I mean,
they talk about the ultimate juxtaposition.
I mean, who's an interior defensive lineman that you have any faith in? Nobody.
I mean, Jordan Elliott's the only one generating any buzz, but
I mean, I
couldn't pick out Jordan Elliott in a line right now.
But but to your point, like you want to have faith in your second teamers. I'll tell you, a second team unit that did a nice job today was the offensive line. Because the Eagles have a really good defensive line, so I'm assuming their second unit is at least adequate. Mm-hmm. And I thought the second team offensive line for the Browns, I mean, Josh Dobbs didn't really get touched at all. And he had plenty of time to throw. I think that was promising because, as we know, the Browns have had injury issues. They've already had an injury at center. We know Conklin's history of injuries. We know, both their tackles really have had a number of injuries. Yeah. So, with Chris Hubbard now healthy and maybe James Hudson, who was a draft pick. Was it last year or 2 years ago now? I can't remember.
Hudson was 2 years ago. Wasn't it? 2 years.
I mean, maybe he's finally coming into his own in the third year because I thought he did a nice job. Overall, they performed pretty well. I was happy with that.
I keep going back to it. The offensive line did pretty good. Josh Dobbs looked kind of nice, man. And I know it's preseason, man. I don't want to get caught up in the rapture here and make you feel like I'm just telling he's the second coming. But I think for the first 2 games, the offensive line protected him. He made some good reads. He extended plays. I liked what I saw from the offense. And for the most part, I've liked what I saw from the offense in the first 2 games in general, right? They've moved the ball. They've been able to run the ball. They've been able to throw the ball when they need it. So I thought the offensive line and Bill Callahan, which I expect nothing less because he's the best offensive line coach in the game. So he can coach them up. So does that make you feel better about the center position moving forward?
I mean, I'd still rather have Treader, guys. I don't know. I mean, Batonio during the game, Aditi spoke with Batonio, and he
great interview, by the way. He's a funny dude.
He's great. She had some good interviews there with
Myles Garrett.
Cooper,
Myles Garrett, offensive player of the year.
That's right. Myles Garrett was holding the ball. We talked about that a couple of months ago.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I know. G's scared of getting Myles Garrett the ball on offense.
Hey, listen. They keep missing people. They need all the catchers they need.
Yeah,
put them out there.
By the way. Going back to Kareem Hunt for just a second, if you said to me, make a list of any pass catcher on the Browns and rank them in order of who you trust the most, wouldn't Kareem Hunt be number 2 behind Amari Cooper?
Could he be number 1?
Nah, I can't put him number 1. Amari Cooper's a good wide receiver.
Yes, he would be. It would be between him and David Njoku, but I like Kareem Hunt. Well, see, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's what they should do, and this is – I don't know if they got the heart to do it, man. You know how you watch college football and they have a specific position for somebody? It's just like, it's a mix between a linebacker and a corner, and they just call him a bandit or a whip or a snake or whatever the case may be, right? Sometimes you get a special player that you have to really change the way you go about doing things in order to get into the football game. Kareem Hunt, to me, should never come off the field. When you say starters, he should be on the field just as if it's in a package. And Kareem Hunt will fulfill 2 positions. I would line him up at the line of scrimmage sometimes as a tight end. I would line him up in the slot as a receiver sometime. I would line him up in split back shotgun as a running back. And he would always be a threat because you can run tight end screen. You can run him anywhere. He's a good blocker. He's really rugged on the goal line. You can run jet motion with him and have him running downhill, catching the football. You see, but I don't know if Kevin Stefanski is thinking that innovative when it comes to that. I just would have him there. It would just be part. You would have the game plan for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would have him certainly a lot more often than they do, and something we've all talked about a lot is having the 2 of them on the field at the same time. And looking down the line, like with Deshaun Watson, the idea of Deshaun Watson, Kareem Hunt, and Nick Chubb all being on the field at the same time. Like, if I'm a defense, I'm freaking out. I'm panicking if I see those three guys behind the line of scrimmage at the same time, or maybe Kareem Hunt, on the line of scrimmage, whatever it may be, because they're superior athletes and superior players, and I don't know, what am I going to do? If I see a split backfield of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and Deshaun Watson's under center, or in the shotgun maybe, I don't know. Like, what do? You're panicking because all three of them can run beyond Deshaun Watson's ability to pass. All three of them are elite runners. So that would be pretty damn scary. I agree with you, G. I'm concerned that we're not going to see that at all. You don't have to do it all the time, but like at least work it in some. Anyway,
we're gonna test Stefanski's creative muscles this year. He's gonna have to find ways to get, especially until Watson comes back. He's gonna have to find ways to scheme guys to get the ball in open space. Yeah, and he did it. I think he did a better job than he gets credit for last year. Even if we all disagree with the fact that he should have played Hunt and Chubb more. But without an elite quarterback, or a quarterback who we've all seen Brissett throw live, I think we all think he has a halfway arm, to say it nicely. He'll deliver the ball, but it doesn't have a lot of zip on it. We're going to have to find ways to get him in. All right, we have officially crossed the half-hour mark, so we're going to wrap up with this guy.
Wait a second. We got to get to Cade York.
That's the last point. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Cade York. And by the way, just a reminder to everybody, we're on tomorrow. We're on Monday through Friday like usual, and we're going to do a little 30-minute to an hour post-game show after every regular season game, immediate reaction, and then there will be hopefully a lot more juicy topics to talk about during a regular season game than preseason.
What you mean? More? It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And we got 365
folks,
people in here now.
This is we're the only post-game show in Cleveland that will start before the game is over, because we're going to join you at the 2-minute warning for every regular season game, so you can watch the final 2 minutes with us. And we're the only post-game 2-minute warning / post-game show in all of Cleveland that has no commercial breaks. We've been on for 32 straight minutes now. We're not taking commercial breaks. You're going to get content. You listen on the radio. Yeah, good luck. You'll get 5 minutes of content and then 10 minutes of commercial breaks. Enjoy that.
And plus, we encourage you. You guys are in here. This is a small gesture. If you are in the live, wherever you're watching this on Twitter, Facebook, or wherever at, please hit the like button, man. Like button is really big, so this content can get out to people. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell, so you guys don't even have to wait. You just know when it's coming up. It just pop up on your smartphone or television. So we appreciate you guys.
And we're seeing all the not tweets or whatever it is, all the messages that are coming in. By the way, one kudos to the Eagles. How about that? We talked about Anthony Schwartz not being really a football player, more of like a track guy. How about that track guy? I can't remember his name. That was a great catch.
Yeah.
Wow. So pretty cool play.
Let's just finish with Cade York then.
Okay,
1 for 2 today. Hit a 50-yarder. Hit a doink with a 55-yarder that looked like it could have been good from 70 had he not hit the upright. I know he missed one, but Cleveland has been dying for a kicker since the days of Phil Dawson. Yeah.
It's a little weird how excited fans are about a kicker. That's a little weird to me.
He's like a cult lord. Bull.
It's a little creepy, but he's clearly a good kicker. Listen, if you want to be – the reason everybody said you had to draft him is because you got Justin Tucker, the best kicker in football. You got Evan McPherson, who's probably now the second best kicker in football. And the Steelers kicker, who I can't think of his name right now, is also one of the best kickers in football.
Chris Boswell.
Okay? Yeah. Those guys make almost all of their 50-yard field goals. This kid's got a tremendous leg. I'm not going to kill him for that second field goal, but he better make that in the regular season. I don't want to hear it's a doink. I don't want to hear it's good for 70. It was 55. Make it for 55. I don't care if it would have been good for 70. But the kid should be good. I mean, he's got a monster leg. So I think he'll be fine.
People be so tough on the kickers.
Yeah. Can't miss.
They have one job, though. They have one job.
And you can't keep him it's not like if I got a linebacker who's not very good as a rookie, I can leave him on the roster and give him time to develop because I don't need just one linebacker. I need multiple. Whereas if the kicker, you draft him and he stinks, which this kid doesn't stink, and he'll probably be really good. But if the kicker disappoints, you got to get rid of him. You can't keep him around and let him develop because you need a kicker.
I will say this: Cade York is going to be responsible for 2 games this year.
Yeah,
it's because it happens all the time. Either they're going to miss their kicks, or they miss an extra point, or they miss a field goal, and you need to hit yours, right? So you go and you kick the ball out the back of the end zone and play field position game. So there's going to be 2 games if the Browns want to get to the playoffs. There's a lot of things that need to happen. He needs to be responsible for 2 games this year. He has the talent. We'll see if he can do it.
And I will say this real quick, Bull. He played at LSU.
Yeah.
And I know college is not the NFL, but guys who succeeded under pressure in college on the stage that he was at won a national championship at LSU. He was 15 of 19 from beyond 50 in SEC stadiums, including some tough road games. He made one against A&M. He's made one against Bama at Bama. I kind of trust those guys. And McPherson, your guy in Cincinnati, is a Florida guy. Same situation.
Right.
Came through in environments that are as hostile, if not more hostile, than playing a road game in Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or Baltimore. So I just kind of trust guys with that pedigree more. And I do think York, being from an SEC school, is not the end-all be-all, but I just kind of trust his ability to handle those pressure situations. Playing in front of 102 to 110,000 fans every Saturday does help and does make a little bit of a difference.
Yep. Yeah, I feel good about him. I do feel good about him. By the way, guys, one other thing before we go to, I've kind of not made much of this injury. Like when we've talked about key injuries, we've talked about Nick Harris, but this Jakeem Grant injury, they brought him in to be the return guy. Their returns have been crap forever, as you know, just especially, G, because you've been watching the team forever. Their return teams have been lousy, and then you bring in this guy who's like one of the top return guys, and now he's out for the year. Their return teams have looked awful. They had that one time where the Eagles punted in the second half. I can't remember who was back, but like he jumped out of the way at the last second and almost hit him. I'm like, you can't be. You got to catch the ball. Like, come on.
Yeah. They struggle. I mean, Demetric Felton should be the guy that's doing it. I would be surprised if he is, but I'm not trying to see Donovan Peoples-Jones back there.
No.
He doesn't have the body type, the hands, the maneuverability to even be back there. They need to figure it out. That was a big thing, because I think field position this season will be more important than anything. It's a difference between starting behind your 20 or getting 7 extra yards and starting at the 28 or 30-yard line. It's just going to be big for him, especially where your offense is going to run. I think Jakeem Grant getting hurt, that hurt a little bit. It hurt more than a little bit. It hurt a lot.
And here's a little tease coming up, because we're going to wrap up here. On Tuesday, we're going to get Bull's submitted question to the group chat was, would you rather have 11 games of Brissett and 6 games of Watson, or 17 games of Baker this year? We're going to do that on Tuesday, Bull, because we got too much preseason stuff to dig into. Tomorrow's question. Which Cleveland team ends with the highest win percentage this season? The Guardians, the Cavs, or the Browns? So we're going to get into that tomorrow, as we now know the Cavs schedule. We know where the Guardians are looking, and we have a lot to speculate over the Browns with Watson coming back in Week 13 against the Texans. So any final thoughts real quick? Any final thoughts?
Any big guests next week? Who we got on next week?
We got Tom Hamilton tomorrow. Tom Hamilton and Tim Couch tomorrow. We have Miles from Pro Football Focus on Tuesday, Bull. Okay. Your former intern, along with Aditi. And we got a pretty normal cast. Nothing crazy yet, but we got a couple of things in the works that we're gonna get Boobie Gibson back on too. We get to reschedule him on Thursday when the Deshaun Watson news broke. So we'll get Boobie back on this week, hopefully, as well.
My final thought is this will be I've had fun doing this with you guys for 40 minutes, but it'll be a lot more fun.
I thought we were only going to go for 20 minutes, Bull.
I know, but it'll be a lot more fun, and we appreciate everybody joining us. I know there's been a lot of people that have joined, and hope you've enjoyed. But it'll be even better in the regular season, because then everything matters.
Yeah,
I can't wait for the first game. I mean, this is going to be, with all the trash I've talked about Baker, with 2 minutes left in that game, we will be on here, and you can either bust my you-know-whats about him playing well, or we can celebrate his failure. One way or the other, it's going to be interesting. 2-minute warning against Carolina next time.
Your tweet this week, or the tweet of you telling Myles Garrett to crush Baker.
Yeah.
We got some Carolina fans pretty rowdy.
I love it. People are like, you're a classless. You're rooting for him to get hurt. I mean, you didn't listen to what obviously I'm not rooting for him to get hurt. My God.
Hey,
guys.
Bull. Hold on.
Yeah.
We're gonna give him. Can we give him our sponsor another read? People has been saying, "Hey, Bull, can we get to Gridiron guys? Can we?"
Grid.
No, stop. They're currently not a sponsor. Currently not a sponsor. They're renewing. We're working about renewing them.
We're in process. I can't give them a free plug right now.
No free plugs until they sign.
PCC.
We got 2 jingles from Brown Stadium, which is right there. 2 viewer-submitted jingles from the stadium that for other sponsors that aren't currently with us that are coming back.
And by the way, the 2 guys who have sent us jingles so far and I are talking about doing something together, maybe at the studio in a couple of weeks. Who knows?
That's dope.
And last thing, we got something special for Labor Day planned, or I'm going to pitch it to G and Bull after this, but I think we got something fun planned for you. So we'll go. We went 40 minutes on a preseason game. We will see you tomorrow,
everybody.
at 11 a.m. on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Adam the Bull, G. Bush, McNuggets. See you tomorrow.